This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah. Okay. You're able to see my screen and you're able to hear my voice as well. Today we are going to see the introduction part of app dynamics. So first of all, we should
There is
understand.
some noise from the background.
Is it?
Yes.
Give me a second. How it is now?
Same thing. I don't know. It is only for me. Someone can confirm and say. Else.
Those who are not talking can go on mute, guys, please. Yeah. Now is it clear, Himanshu? Clear,
Yes.
right?
Yes. 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 Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So introduction to app dynamics. Say first of all, we should understand where this app dynamics or the APM tools are comes into the picture. Okay. Say an example. Uh, I am into this field for a decade, right? So I know the initial period when these APM tools are becoming little famous. That time I used to like prepare a script, execute different types of testing, and then provide the report to the stakeholder. That time what will happen, whatever may be the technology stack, whether it is .NET application or Java application, whatever the application, if you are giving that final report to the stakeholder, there will be a meeting. In that meeting they will discuss like what is that outcome of this performance testing report. That time predominantly what we will say like the response time is this much, hits per second is this much, throughput is this much, errors are this much, average transaction response. Like that we will provide reports to the stakeholder. They will ask the performance tester, what am I going to do with these numbers? You are saying it is taking 7 seconds, 8 seconds, 10 seconds. In what way it is value for me? How I am going to use this performance testing report? That time we don't have any answer to tell to the stakeholder that this is how you have to divide the numbers in layer level. Say like it is a issue related to front end, is it a issue related to DB, is it a issue related to app server? Like that we don't have any mechanism to divide the numbers into multiple layers and to provide that report. There are profiling tools where there are static analysis tools where there are single user performance testing tools where there, but those are not giving the actual outcome what we are expecting. So these APM tools are comes into the picture now. This APM tool, okay, APM tool, App Dynamics, or the Dynatrace or the New Relic, all these tools are comes into the picture. Now what happened, you have an option to install the agents into the respective servers. It may be a app server, it may be a DB server, it may be a user experience agent, or it may be a database agent, whatever. When after you are installing these agents, you are able to get the numbers in the layer level, the layer level in divided numbers. Say like the holistic journey is 8 seconds, means you can now get the numbers like 2 seconds in browser, 2 seconds in app server, or remaining time in backend server. Like that you have a split up of the entire end-to-end user journey number. So with that benefit we are going into these APM tools like App Dynamics. So that is the reason people are moving towards this APM tools, application performance monitoring or application performance management tools. These tools, APM tools. Okay. So this App Dynamics, when compared to the other APM tools, I would say this is leading in the market. When all the other tools are also leading in the market, but when you compare this set of APM tools in the industry, App Dynamics is one among the tools which is actually leading in the market, and also the market share is high. And if you are trying to do this configuration or the data gathering or the debugging, all those will be kind of a user friendly things in AppDynamics, I'm saying. Okay, so what you can do, you can download or configure the respective agents into the server, and then when you do a business transaction or the infra level metrics, you can straight away capture the metric and then you can do the debug. So it is little easy and user friendly in the way you are doing this task. So that is the reason we are preferring to use this AppDynamics as a APM tool. Okay, so what I'm suggesting is that, like, when we are going to have this training session, right? So you can also parallelly, I'll tell you at what days you have to create the account. Maybe I'll try to complete some 3 to 4 days session. Then I inform you guys to create the SaaS account. Okay, so you guys also can use your organization mail ID to create the SaaS account. From there you can do your play around. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you application agent, machine agent, DB agent and all, right? So I'm going to give you the sample application to you also. While explaining, when I'm doing, right, I'm going to explain in such a way how to do the server configuration, how to do the war file deployment, how to do the agent installation, how to do the connection establishment between the agent and the AppDynamics, and then how we are going to gather the metric, how we are going to debug it. Those information I'm going to share with you guys. So it is kind of a end-to-end understanding. So you wait for some 3 to 4 days, because I will try to complete 1 or 2 agent configuration and the data gathering, so that, yeah, this 15 days of a trial license, you can use it to a fullest. If you are creating along with me, sometimes you will miss 1 or 2 days, you are not actively using the licenses, right? So what I'm suggesting you wait for some 3 to 4 days, so that I'll try to complete the actual critical component or the concepts in the AppDynamics, so that you can create your SaaS account after 3 to 4 days. You can utilize it for full 15 days. Okay, so that is a right way to do that as well. Okay.
I
Um,
interrupted in
somebody is talking. Your voice is breaking. Actually, can you?
getting lost.
What is that?
My audio connection is getting lost again and again, and your voice is not clear.
Is it the same scenario for everyone?
No, no,
I
no.
think, is it a
No, it
network
is
connection?
clear, sir.
Yeah. Is
No,
it
it's
a
not.
network
No,
connection
sir.
from your end? Yeah, yeah. Thanks for confirmation. Looks like it is a network connection from your end. It is creating a problem. Can you check your end? Yeah. You check it. Okay. You check it. Still, if it is prolonged, you let me know. Okay. Okay. So uh, on the introduction side, what we are predominantly saying, like, AppDynamics is a industry leading APM tool. Say these are the agents that are available. I would say these are major agents. Okay, don't think like this is how only set of things are available or not. No, this is a major agents. People usually frequently use the agents. Say like Java agent, .NET agent, PHP, Python, Node.js, and then real user monitoring can be done, instrumentation of the iOS device, Android device, database agent, and then C++ application agents. All these are available in AppDynamics. Okay, so case to case we can use this respective agents when you are going for our application configuration. In this, I am going to show you a Java agent configuration and then a Node.js agent configuration in our training session. But predominantly, very small changes only will be there in the configuration. But I am trying to cover two different types of database, two different types of application agent as well, so that you will be familiar with whatever the things that you are doing. And also, those who are attending interview also, you can very well tell them, like, I have an exposure with the Java agent configuration and Node.js agent configuration, MySQL database configuration, and then MongoDB configuration. Like that, you can tell to the interviewer, so that the way you are answering will be little technical and you can easily crack the interviews as well. So it is easy for you. So you are telling them that you have experience in configuring these things. Okay, that is a benefit when you are going for an interview. And then browser supported, these are the browser supported things are there. Usually all these are supported in all the way, all the APM tools. I'm just saying these are the browser supported. On the deployment model side, which is actually our second topic, which is nothing but on-premises versus SaaS model. Okay, say quite a similar procedure when you're after the installation. I'm saying after the installation, quite a similar procedure you are going to follow when compared to the on-premises model or the SaaS model. But only the installation will be little different when you are going for the on-premises or the SaaS. In SaaS model, you are very, it is very easy. You are going to create your user ID as an organization user ID and password, and then you are creating an account. Basically, you are creating an account. Okay, so it is easy for you to create an account straight away. You are going to create it and then use it for your regular stuff. There is no configuration stuffs are there. But when you are going for the on-premises installation, you have to download the on-premises version from the download page of Dynatrace. Say an example, AppDynamics, sorry, AppDynamics download page. Okay, AppDynamics download, it will go to the download page. As I mentioned, all these things are available in a single place itself. Say agents are available, everything is available in the single place. Just a minute. Yeah, so in order to show you what I'm doing, I'm unchecking the remaining agents and all because I want to show you the yeah, say you have Windows, Linux, Mac, everything is there, right? You can use this enterprise console as a Windows, and then whichever the version that you want to download it, you can download it in the, say you have to uncheck everything, so it should not create any confusion to you. Oh, okay, when you are downloading it, it is saying like this is a enterprise console, so you can download it and then you can install it. That is a simple procedure of installing the enterprise console. And in that enterprise console, it will ask some prerequisite. There should be an internal DB will be there, and there will be a event services will be installed. These are all packages. Okay, event services and this enterprise console. When you are double clicking it, it will automatically install. Okay, only thing is you should have a system prerequisite. 50 GB data should be there. 4 GB of RAM should be there. Like that, prerequisite is there when you are going for the on-premises model. That is the only difference when you are going for on-premises installation or the SaaS model. Okay, but when you are going for on-premises model, there you will not get a free license. This the license that you are going and using for SaaS model, right? That you will not get it in the on-premises model. But in the SaaS model, you can straight away you can see I created one account in SaaS account. See, this is a SaaS account that I created. You can see there is 13 days of trial license is pending. You can see in the right topmost corner. Okay, so you don't want to request for any license and all when you are going for the SaaS model. But when you are going for the on-premise SaaS, sorry, in SaaS model, you don't want to do anything. When you are going for on-premises model, you have to contact the AppDynamics people. You have to give your business cases and then they will provide it. So that is a little tedious process. But if you want to straight away learn AppDynamics, you can use this method. Straight away type SaaS AppDynamics, like this. SaaS AppDynamics, enter it, go here, and then you can click it like free trial. Okay, start free trial, and then you can give your username and password.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah, Chakradhar, yeah.
Yeah, is this license will be like agent-based licensing will be there? Like I want only Java agent means the price will be different, or like that way, is it will be like that?
Yeah, I'll explain that, Chakradhar. Yeah, I'm going in that direction only. Yeah, I'll explain this. Give me a moment. Okay, so I'll just complete this trial license side. Okay, so you can create your account here itself, guys. So after the account creation, straight away your page will be loaded like this. You can click this launch AppDynamics. It will be there. Maybe in my account, the tenant name is different. In your case, the tenant name will be little different also. So you have to click this, that will actually launch here. Okay. Chakradhar, your answer to your question. If you have to know your licensing detail, there is a setting icon here on the right hand side. Click this. Under the license tab, if you go and check it, it will show you what are all the licenses are available, how many are available to you. Okay, what are the licenses are available, how many are available to you for the free license. For the free license, you can see there are 5 units of Java agents are available. In that, I used one unit because which means that I configured one application in that, which means that I have another 4 applications can be configured. Like that, licensing detail will be available here, Chakradhar. Okay, did I answer your question, Chakradhar?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you are going for your real world environment, real world App Dynamics environment, that time you need to have things based on the licensing availability. You can still procure it and then you can use it for your real world. Okay, clear? Clear, Chakradhar?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. So that is about the. Those who are not talking, please go on mute.
One small doubt,
Yeah, yeah. Please go ahead.
like which kind of agent we should install, like how we will know. Actually, I have used App Dynamics, but as I'm a fresher, just blindly we took some metrics like server metrics and heap memory, everything, and we have shared the report. I
Mm-hmm.
did not understand, like for some applications, they asked us like heap memory, it is showing more than 50%. Then we have used this tool before testing.
Mm-hmm.
In the
Okay.
other application, we have used for only for sending those reports. So I got
Mm.
confused, like whether we need to use this monitoring tool before test in some cases and after test just for metrics sharing, and also what kind of agent, it depends on application, or what agent we need to install, configure or install.
Yeah, I'll maybe a lot of questions are inside that. I'll try to answer one by one. Okay, the first one is it is a monitoring tool. Okay, monitoring tool. You can use it before or after. That there is nothing like before and after and all. This is a production monitoring tool. Usually people will do it for production monitoring tool. Okay, so what is happening all the way 24/7, it will be running in the prod. That is one case. Okay, the other case is if the enterprise level company, they are procuring the additional licenses and they are trying to deploy it in the QA environment, that time only you are going to use it for your testing. Okay, performance testing. Okay, so in that case you are going to have a test running, say 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, 8 hour, like that. In that time you are going to filter the data and then you are going to take the metrics. So two way, whether it is an infrastructure monitoring level, which means that the production monitoring level you are going to use it, or you are deploying that tool in the QA environment using it for your testing purposes or what. This is case to case. So there are companies, if they are very big enterprise level companies, they will procure for both the cases, QA environment as well as the production environment, and they'll try to deploy it in their environment. And there are people, they will only spend money for the production monitoring alone. That time what they will do, there are people, what they will do, in the peak time they will monitor it, the user behavior. In the off season time, they'll try to use 1 or 2 hours to test the script in the production environment itself, to take the metric and then use it for their debugging. That is also possible. That is your first part of the question. The second part of the question, first you should know your architecture, design, technology stack of your application. Say you have to know where it is deployed. It is deployed in Windows or deployed in Linux, or your application is a Java application, your application is a .NET application, your application is a Node.js application, your application is a PHP application. Like that, you should know your technology stack. Based on that only you are going to install this app agent. App agent is purely on the technology stack. Machine agent is nothing but Windows server or Linux server, like that you are going to conclude, and then based on that you are going to install your machine agent. DB agent is nothing but what type of DB your application is made of. It is a MySQL DB or it is a MongoDB, whatever the DB. Okay, based on that, you are going to install your DB agent. Like that, you should understand fundamentally your technology stack, infra stack, all those information if you have. Based on that, you are going to install the respective agents and then you are taking the corresponding metric. Clear? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. No more question, right? Yeah. So we'll move on. So that is about the on-premises and the SaaS model. And also I'll tell you in what way people prefer on-premises and what way people prefer SaaS model. Okay. If sometimes people are from banking customer or the insurance customer, those people are very keen about their data security, data breach, sensitive data, all those terms and terminologies they usually frequently use. What is that meaning? So you don't want to let your data go out. So in that case, those people will prefer to use only on-premises deployment model. Okay, on-premises deployment model. But when you are not say you are not worried of your data security, data breach and all, you are a e-commerce customer, or your volume will be very high, your data storage will be very high, that time people will go for SaaS model. Because SaaS, you are not going to own the infrastructure, somebody is going to own the infrastructure. On premises, you are the one who is going to own the infrastructure, which means that data backup, data storage, everywhere you are the responsible person. So if something goes wrong, you are losing all your data. But in SaaS model, somebody is going to own the infrastructure, so you are only going to pay to the vendor, and your data will be safe and secure, stored properly, backed up properly, so you are not worried of all those things. So people are preferring SaaS model in these cases. If it is on premises, you are responsible for everything. If it is SaaS model, the vendor is responsible for everything. So people are preferring in that case. But if you are a banking customer or insurance customer, people little hesitant to move to a SaaS model because it is a cloud-based model, right? So people are little hesitant. They'll say, I will give the infrastructure, will you do the installation? So on-premises model will be suitable for me. Like that, people are thinking. Okay, that is the reason people are moving towards that. But other than that, people are predominantly using the SaaS model. Straight away, you can create an account and then use it for your application monitoring purpose. That is a difference between this SaaS model and the your mm, on-premises model. Okay, that is a difference, guys. If you have any question related to SaaS and the on-premises, you let me know.
For SaaS and on-prem?
What is it?
The features.
Features will be same. Features will be same. The activities, everything that you are doing will be same. What on premises is going to do, say um, I am a banking customer. Okay, say like American Bank or something like that. Okay, I am bank. So what will I do? I don't want to let my data go out. What will I do? I'll ask the App Dynamics software to be installed inside my premises. Every data will be stored inside my banking premises itself. That is called as on premises. Or I am saying like you create your SaaS account and give it to me. All my data will be stored in your cloud. All the things are stored in your premises itself, the vendor premises itself. That is called a SaaS model, software as a service. Okay, software as a service. So that is a difference. Other than that, on a work wise, you will not feel any difference. You will still be getting all the things available in the on premises and the SaaS model. But I would say, I'll tell you one thing. In the recent trend, people stopped investing a lot of things in the on premises. App Dynamics has started investing more on the SaaS model because people are moving towards this cloud-based model, Docker, containers, Kubernetes, like that. People are moving towards, right? Because of that, this App Dynamics guys also started investing more on the SaaS model instead of on-premises model. That is the only thing I'm observing in the recent trend.
Got
Okay.
it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'll do, I'll explain the I'll explain the architecture side maybe. Yeah. This is the SaaS architecture. I hope everyone is able to view this. Okay, everyone is able to view this. Okay, very simple, guys. So maybe the picture is a little clumsy, but I'll tell you. This 1 2 3 4 5 and all is all agents. Is all agents. Okay, wherever whatever you want to monitor, you are installing the agents. Okay, this 7 8 9 10 is like your SaaS model, your this display, right? Whatever I'm showing you right here, this is a one, this is a one SaaS. What is predominantly they are saying, very simple. There is a UI. Okay, there is a UI, there is a DB which is available, which is storing the data. That is what the real understanding. If you could able to zoom in a little, maybe I'll zoom in and show you. Says this what did I say, this 7 8 9 10, right? 7 is nothing but synthetic monitoring service, 8 is nothing but event service, 9 is nothing but EM, real user monitoring service, and then 10 is nothing but your controller service. Controller is nothing but, the term controller means this UI. This UI is called controller. Okay, this UI is called controller, and remaining on all are respective services. Other than that, what is happening here, I'll tell you with a pictorial representation. All these 1 2 3 4 5 and all, right? It is all sending data to your controller, your SaaS platform. Sending data, you can see there is a unidirectional arrow mark is there. You can see the arrow mark is going out from agents to the platform, which means that data is going from agents to the platform. There is no control from the platform to the agent. Please remind this. There is no control from the platform to the agent, but agent will send the data to the platform. That is what the understanding. Okay, that is what the real understanding. So whichever the agents that you are installing, it will go to the controller, and it will be of 443 port. It will be a 443 port, or if you are using any local level communication, it will be 8080. But other than that, everything, since it is a SaaS model, right? SaaS model will be HTTPS URL, so it will communicate through 443, guys. Okay, 443 port only it will try to communicate. This is what the understanding of this architecture. Very simple. All the agents communicating to your platform in a unidirectional way. It is all communicating through 443 port. Inside the platform, there will be certain services and certain DB configurations are there. All the on the whole, in the controller is a UI. In the controller only the data is displaying. That is what this architecture. Okay, similarly, if I go and explain this on-premises architecture, very simple, very simple. In that infrastructure, everything is sitting inside the cloud icon. You can see in the image, everything is sit inside a cloud icon, which means that this SaaS means it is inside the cloud. Vendor is having the cloud maintenance, so that is available. But in on-premises model, the left hand side is still the same. Left hand side is still the same. All the agents are sending the data to your controller only. Controller, and there is a services, and the entire component which were available inside the cloud, it is separate component. That is the only difference. On the architecture, there will not be much of a difference. But when you go for this communication, here the communication will be little different. It will be of 8090 port, 9080 port, 80 like that. There will be a port difference only. Other than that, on the installation side, it will be a separate component installation. There everything is packaged. In SaaS model, everything is packaged. In on-premises model, you are going to install that, and it will be installing in a separate component level. That is the difference between your on-premises model and then your SaaS model. This is little detailed reference of that. I don't think you guys require that. This understanding is enough, which means that you have a package installation. When you are going for SaaS model, that package is already available with you. But in on-premises model, you are installing these separate component. That's all. That is the understanding. Here also, the data communication is a unidirectional communication. The data communication is a unidirectional communication. In AppDynamics, the license that I am currently using, right, that is called as 15 days of pro license. Okay, it is this one whatever I'm using, right? It is called as 15 days of pro license. Okay, pro. And after the 15 days of license, it will become a light license. The name is called as light license. This is called as AppDynamics Lite. What will happen? Nothing problem, guys. Don't think like what will happen after 15 days. Here in the license tab, there are 5 units were there, right? For Java 5 units, .NET 5 units are there, right? Java 5 units, .NET 5 units. After 15 days, it will all become one unit. One application can be configured. One Java application, one .NET application. That is a difference of pro license and the light license. So what is happening? Now I have 13 days of pro license are left. Example, okay, 13 days pro license is left. After the 13th day, my pro license will become light license, and after that I cannot configure more than one Java agent, more than one .NET agent. I can configure one application. That's all. That is how it will become light license. That is the difference between pro license and the light license. I'll park here. I'll pass here maybe. Those who have any question, please ask me, guys.
I do have a question here.
Your good name, please. It is displaying as load runner. Your name.
Oh, is that right? My name is Zahid, Z-A-H-I-D.
Zahid. Okay. Okay.
That is correct. Okay.
Sorry.
So
Yeah.
perhaps a little early. So most applications are nowadays it's on the cloud, Salesforce, Google, AWS. So how these agents are being installed on the cloud side? What kind of communications or cooperations you need from them? And you know, probably you're going to address it later, but I just
see
being curious.
all the way wherever, not only this tool or any tool, all the way you need to have this fundamental understanding. The infra will be infra in the perspective of Windows, Linux, Unix, whatever, right? Dockers, whatever. Infra is infra. Okay, infra is infra. And whether you are going to have it in the on-premises or you are going to have it in the AWS, you need to have a communication in the port. That inbound, outbound port should be enabled so that you are going to do the connection establishment. If you still have that connection establishment, you can do that. You can do that. That is what the answer to your question. Clear?
No, I do get that, but my question is, it's a very protected environment, right? Wherever your application is being hosted, let's say in AWS. How this external, another SaaS product is being connected to to a cloud environment, you probably need root level access to their servers and all that, right? So that is my question. How a SaaS product measuring all these metrics for a different SaaS product?
See, they have CloudWatch integration with these the cloud vendors. Okay, so that what they will do, they will trigger that CloudWatch from AppDynamics and it will take the metrics and give it to AppDynamics. That is how they are gathering the metric.
Got it.
Got it?
Yeah, I got it now.
Yeah, and somebody asked in the group chat, what is unidirectional, right? Unidirectional is, see, it is flowing from, you can see from the picture, it is going from here to the agents, it is going to the controller. That's all. There is no, again, one more arrow mark is coming from controller to agent. That is unidirectional. It is going one way, not even say like unidirectional, you say like one way communication. In that way, you understand it. Naga, you are able to understand?
Yeah, hello.
Naga, you are able to understand what I'm saying?
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, I got your reply, Naga. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said it is like port communication, the agent and the application. We need to install the agent in the application, and by using the port communication, we can do we can get all the metrics. whether this agent, where we install the agent in the application, and the App Dynamics should be on the same network, because in JMeter we have a concept like this thing, like Performon agent will be there. These should be in the same network
Subnet mask will
to
be
get the
same.
things.
Subnet mask will be same. Yeah. See, that is what. See, either way, subnet mask is there or what, you will again check the inbound outbound communication. Firewall, you will check it. Usually, maybe we are not checking it because we are sitting inside the LAN, so we will not check it. Say in this case, if we are trying to hit it with a different LAN, say like your one machine is there in AWS and you are sitting inside the LAN, that time you will definitely check the inbound outbound communication and all, right, how it is actually happened. Similar case, but I would say you will not face that kind of a problem. Since 443 is open to everyone, right? That is how the understanding. 443 8080 is everyone able to communicate, right? You guys are able to understand, right? 443 and 8080 is the default port, internet port, right? Then how you will think that it will be blocked? Nowhere it is possible. So all the way you will be able to do the communication. So don't think about like how the communication will happen, these, that, and all. I don't think we don't want to bother about it because it is actually talking in 443 and 8080, the entire external communication I'm saying. So usually it'll capture the data. So we don't want to worry like whether maybe a data communication problem and all will come or what. No, that will not happen. Clear, Naga?
Okay.
Yeah. Say I'll tell you one more thing. In your case, whatever the JMeter server bat that you are trying to execute, right? That also when you are executing in the same LAN, you will not find any difficulty unless and until you are having some mapping differences there. That time only you will face a problem. Other than that, you will straight away do your execution, and then your connectivity will be established. And then if you are triggering it from remote server execution, it will actually trigger it if you are sitting inside the LAN. But there it is a local area communication. You think it like that. Here it is a 443. You are reaching a HTTPS request, right? So that communication will be opened always in any machine. 443 and 8080 will not be blocked at all. So in that way, your communication will be established. Clear, Naga?
Okay.
Yeah. Say when you are doing a connection establishment, sometimes people will do 8079, 8095 like that. That time maybe it is a dedicated port to your machine, and that has to be talked to a different machine. There will be a port problem and all will come. Ultimately, here they are using the default internet port, so it will not be a problem. Yeah. Somebody started asking question.
Yeah,
Yes,
Sarvanan
sir.
Siddhant this side. So basically what in our project we do have a Linux box where we do not have a front-end GUI. So may I know what commands may we use to install the machine agents or the AppD agents into the app server or the web server?
See, actually saying, maybe I'll show you. Say whenever you are trying to click on, say an example, just I'll explain from here also, no problem. Getting started. When you are going for any agent installation, this is a wizard actually. Okay. When you are trying to do no, actually the best part in App Dynamics, they will be mentioning their the procedures. Say you are trying to download this. Okay. You are saying like this is a communication. Using this communication, you are doing this, and if you click download, no, they'll say unzip the machine agent to the machine you want to monitor, start the machine agent with this command. That is what they are trying to tell you. Everywhere whatever you are doing, they will tell you the procedure basically. So whichever the combination that you are doing, wherever you are trying to do, they'll explain it in the bottom of the screen. They'll explain everywhere. So you don't want to worry like what will be the configurational steps. Say an example, if I am going for a Java agent, okay, Java agent, I'm selecting the Java type there, those details, no. Suddenly if you go below, you have a application agent. Say an example, if I'm clicking Apache Tomcat server, they'll have a installation steps itself. Each and every server they have a separate the documentation prepared. So it will be a user-friendly documentation as well. You can select that and you can do your job. They'll have everything available. Sid, your name is mentioned as Sid.
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
call you as Sid itself, right? Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is all.
Fine. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Rohan just missed one point from Zahid's question. I think he was telling that it will be you need a root kind of an access to access it from AppDynamics. What was your answer? I just missed that. Can you repeat that?
Nobody asked that question, right? Did anyone ask root
No,
related
actually,
access?
right. I did.
Hmm.
I was kind of confused where because you don't have direct access to AWS servers or
Hmm.
Salesforce servers or any other cloud servers, but you're trying to get to install these jar file or these agents, you probably need some kind of heavier user access to the machine. Otherwise, you probably will not have access to all these machine level metrics, correct?
Yeah, that clause will Zahid, that clause will
Yes.
be there everywhere, right? Like somebody anyway, say an example, you are trying to install a utility in your Linux machine, no? Ultimate
Right.
prerequisite is you should have a permission. You should have a permission, and then you should have that software available in your directory, and then you are going to install that. That is all prerequisite. So what we are telling you here, it is a knowledge that how you are going to do that. So
Okay.
it is prerequisite understanding that you should have a root access or installation permission to do certain activity. Once you are having that, we are telling the procedure to do this installation activity. Clear, Zaid?
Yes. So definitely. So in the industry standard
Mhm,
or industry practice,
mhm.
is this how a cloud-based app? Is this how this is being done? The
Yeah,
installation process and all that. Yes.
yeah. This is how actually saying these people are having their the security certification and their NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, are very clear. So
Okay.
they are typically following the standards. This is how they are doing. Okay, so say somebody can ask me like whether my data is safe or what. If you go and talk to the AppDynamics people, what they'll show you the certificates that they got it with respect to the security related certificates. So they are good in their what they are doing in the level of standards. So this is how
Okay.
people are doing. This is how people are doing. And so when the customer
Okay.
is asking you this question, you can say, yeah, they are good in what they are doing, and you are pretty much following the procedure to do certain things. So and also
Got it.
maybe sometimes the infra people will raise a flag and say like I don't like somebody's installing some software inside my monitoring service.
That is
There
correct.
will be a question. There will be a question. That time you need to convince those people, saying them like no, there will not be much of a overhead if you are installing these kind of a software, because those people are telling like in their websites, and they are saying our overhead is not more than 2%. That is how they are say. If you have problem statement, they will have solution, right? Like so
Sure.
you need to convince the layer level, each layer, say technical people, organization head level people, infra level people, developers, like that. Each one will have their own different problem statement. Only thing is you are going to tell them the respective answers. So this is a standard that they are following, Zagi. They are
Got
doing
it.
that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep. So what we typically covered today is that like we covered the architecture diagram, because we should know what is SaaS and what is on premises, how the data is having those things. And then probably I don't think today we can complete application agent, but I'll start with application agent. We have very little time now. I'll start with application agent. This metric browser concept, I'll explain little late only, because every data configuration I will explain, and then I will explain this metric browser will be very easy for you to understand. So I'll show you the the app agent, machine agent, database agent, those configurational stuffs, and then you will get this metric browser, the importance of the metric browser. Okay, so straight away what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you uh, the uh, the installation side. Okay, I'll show you the app agent installation side. Okay, so before to that, I'll explain a prerequisite conditions. What you guys can do, no, you guys can go to internet, you can type like Apache Tomcat uh, uh, community download. Okay, download, you guys can go and download it, guys. This one you can download, this one, say maybe a Tomcat 9. Okay, Tomcat 9, you try to download it and then you try to install in your machine. Okay, first step, Tomcat, you try to install it. Say an example, in my case I downloaded and then I extracted that file which is in my machine. Okay, in my machine, and then the first and foremost thing what you have to do, under the conf folder there is a file called Tomcat user. There is a file called Tomcat user. In that you have to edit your roles like this. Many people will do this mistake, that is why I'm saying this. You do the configuration in the Apache Tomcat server. Okay, Apache Tomcat server, I'll copy this configuration and then I'll try to put it in the chat. You guys can copy this and keep it. Okay, when you are doing your configuration, please try to use this configuration, because most of the time people will do back and forth work because of this configuration that they are missing. Okay, so when you are doing this configuration, download it, extract it, and then you are doing this configuration, no, what you can do, you can go here, type like localhost 8080 in your browser. Sorry, before that, what you have to do, you have to start the server. Go to the bin folder, just a minute, I'll stop my server because I already started my server, because I just want to show you how I am starting also. Yeah, so what I did now, I am going to the bin folder. I am going to the bin folder of my Apache Tomcat server. Okay, I went inside that. I'm selecting this address bar. Typing cmd. If I enter, no, it will go to the path directly. Okay, shortcut to go to the path directly. And then I'm saying like st tab. If I'm giving, it is saying startup that batch file. Actually, it is inside that folder itself. So what I'm doing, startup.bat. I'm doing that. If I enter it, no, the Tomcat server will start now. Don't see anything now, because I did the app agent configuration also. Because of that, it is loading this much time. If it is a plain Tomcat that you are running, you know, it will straight away load it. It'll straight away load the component. I'll tell you where that component will end. Okay, I'll show you.
Servant, you're going to make this video available to us, correct?
Yeah, I'm going to share that video to you. Yeah. Okay, this is how finally it will say Catalina start server startup in this much millisecond. So till here you have to wait, guys. Okay, till here you have to wait. Somebody, you know, they'll give startup.bat, they'll straight away go and type it in the browser. They'll say my server is not running. So wait for this moment and then you go and type in the browser. It will be running like this. So this is the Tomcat, Apache Tomcat, server details. No, then what you have to do, there is a button called Manager App. You can now understand why I did the user configuration in the initial part, because it will ask this window, username and password. You can now go and see your chat. Inside that, I have given the username and password, role details and all, right? So if I click sign in, it will go to the manager app screen. Okay. Inside that, there is a place called war to deploy. Say if you click choose file, you know, it will go to the path. I will give this war file to you. Those who are sharing your Gmail ID to me, right? I will share this war file to you. So what you have to do, you have to select this war file and then click deploy. What will happen? That will deploy here. You can see there is a file called JPEG store which is deployed. This war file is deployed. Okay. So if I click this, no, that application will be launching, guys. Okay, that application will be launching. This is a prerequisite for the application to up and running. Okay. Till now, I did not explain anything to AppDynamics, guys. Don't get confused. Don't get confused. See, in order to do application agent configuration, we need one sample application. That is the one I'm explaining you till now. Till now, we did not do anything related to AppDynamics because first, in order to learn ourselves, in order to do hands-on experience, we need one application. That is the configuration that I showed you till now. What I did, Apache Tomcat download, add a user profile, and then I deployed this war file inside this Apache Tomcat. My application is ready now. My application is ready. Till now, I did only the prerequisite configuration, guys. Don't get confused. I did only the prerequisite condition. So, what is that understanding if I show it in the MS Paint? No. Now, I have application. Now, I have application, which is nothing but my JPEG store application. JPEG store application. Okay. Now I have AppDynamics SaaS account which is there. AppDynamics SaaS account. That also I have AppDynamics SaaS account. Okay. Now what I have to do? Now I have to download a application agent. What I have to do? I have to download application agent. Say an example, I'm going to download application agent. Okay. What I need to do, guys? There should be a communication established between this, and then there should be a communication established between this. Okay. If I do the kind of communication established between the agent and the SaaS and my application to the agent, that is all my job done. Then whatever I'm doing in my application, the agent will do my data capture, and then the agent will send the data to the AppDynamics SaaS. Till now, I'll stop it here. Till now, anyone have any question, guys? Or we are good with our understanding?
So,
yes, sir. One question here.
Please, one at a time, guys. Please, yeah.
So the agent should be installed on the same machine or a different machine?
I will show you, Himanshu. You will see where I think, Himanshu, you are having the understanding of Dynatrace and you are asking this question, I know. So I will show you the agent configuration in AppDynamics and you will get it. You will get that understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Sid, you are able to ask something?
yeah, so at what duration of time is the information sent via the agent? Like, what is the frequency of time the information gets updated to the app agent?
This initial thing will take some time, Sid. I saw many times it takes a lot of time for the data to be reflected, but because of certain other configurational problems, okay. But after that, you can filter the data like this.
Yeah, suppose in the BT, do a filter. Okay, so let's say my transaction are running and some of my payloads are getting generated. So what I mean to ask that what interval of time the the agent transfer the data to the controller from the application.
That is what I'm showing you, right? In the right hand side, you can filter the data for last 5 minutes. That is what the question, right? Your question.
Yes, so that time we can filter the data. I am asking like at what frequency is the data being transferred? Like let's say, is it every 1 second, every 2 second, or in every 1 minute? Like
Just a minute. I'll show that. Say an example, if I filter a business transaction, okay, my tier, and then if I filter this, inside that if I try to filter the average transaction response time, okay, you are able to see now what is happening in the day wise. It is showing. Able to see now what I'm
yeah.
doing. I'm doing a zoom in. Okay, so you can zoom the data when I think you are also asking from the perspective of Dynatrace. Here you can go till minute level, Sid. Okay, you can go to the minute level. You can go to the minutes level, and also there is a concept available here. You can right click it. There is a copy REST URL path is there. I'll explain later part. If you copy paste that, if you copy paste that, you have time detail available in the REST API call itself. Till that level, you can do the zoom in. You can do zoom the data.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think Sid was asking about the the AppDynamics agent. After how much second or minutes the data
Yeah,
are
I
being
was asking
transferred.
about the
No.
frequency part actually.
No, no.
I think it is real time. I
See,
think this is real time.
there are two parts in that. Somebody asking in what time it will come to the AppDynamics, right? That I answered. It will take time to time. Sometimes it will straight away will display the data. Within a fraction, it will come with that. Sometimes it will take 3 to 5 minutes to get the data. That is one part. The other part of the question is, after the data coming to AppDynamics, what is the granularity in which the data is coming? That is what the second question. Did I understood correctly?
Yeah, actually, Sarvanam, I got this question somewhere while I was giving an exam, like at what frequency of time does the agent transfer the information from the application to the controller? So that's what I was asking. What's the correct answer for that? So it
That is
was a
what.
MCQ type question. So there
Yeah,
were
yeah.
some seconds been mentioned, like 30 seconds, 60
Yeah.
seconds. So
Like that,
that's what I was
you can
asking.
pull that. Yeah, that is what I'm saying. You can pull the data. You can pull the data and get the metrics. Now you are able to understand, right? What I explained.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Okay. With this, maybe we'll wrap up for today's session. I we will connect tomorrow to see the till now I showed you the application is ready. I have an application. Now tomorrow I'm going to show you how to configure a app agent. And Himanshu, tomorrow definitely your question will be answered. It
Okay.
is not like one agent. That is the reason. If I tell now that then I have to extend a little more time to explain the complete that topic. That is the reason. Tomorrow we'll reconvene. I'll explain how that app agent is configured. Clear?
So Ronan, one last
Okay.
question probably. Uh, Hello.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Please.
So whatever you have put that into the chat, right? The enabling of the role that you have done. So basically, you went to the user's file and you enabled that particular section which you have pinged. Is it? Can you show that file once? So
Come again.
previously it was disabled, right? This Tomcat role one and Tomcat and password.
Which one you are saying in the file? Conf file you are saying?
Yes. The configuration file.
Yeah.
The users were there, right?
Yeah.
So basically, the section that
It
you
will
have
be in
pinned, right?
disabled mode. It will be in
Oh,
disabled mode. You have to
so you have
add
to
one
enable
line.
it.
Yeah, you have to add one line. This line I'm saying. This line you have to
Okay.
add.
Okay.
But add it correctly. That is the reason I gave that things to you. I gave that.
Okay, but the top part of it and the bottom part of it, all those are disabled, right? Those are
Yeah. It is all commented out. Commented out.
okay. So basically, this line has to be added. Okay, clear. Thanks.
Yeah, that is what. Many people used to have this doubt. That is the reason I'm proactively telling you. You do that. You do that, and then try to come up with it. Okay. Clear, guys?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. We'll reconvene tomorrow to see the application agent configuration. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks everyone for joining the session, and those who are wish to proceed with the training, that we want to continue with this training session. please reach out to Kumar sir for the payment related details. Okay. Is it Shravansh, right? Somebody is asking my mobile number. Yeah, this is my mobile number. You can reach out to me anytime asking for any clarification. Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks all for joining. Have a nice day, guys. Bye bye.
Bye.